maybe you're plant-based, maybe you're thinking about going plant-based. There's so many things that come up though, like people act like you're crazy or something, and and so many people like warn you about these risks, these dangerous risks of going plant-based. Well, we're here to talk about it. We're going to talk about nutritional deficiencies, gut and bloating issues. I don't know. We can talk about a little bit about poop and farting and good stuff like that. But my goodness, as always, we invite you guys to comment, leave us a comment, put a question in there, anything you want to do. And of course, like, follow wherever you're seeing this broadcast. Make sure you follow us and like it. And it's going to be amazing. So again, my name's Doug. I've been on a health journey for a while and making some plant-based changes. And I guess I kind of bring like a more seasoned wisdom to this conversation. But we got Kindall over here who's sprinkling plant-based fairy dust all over the place. And she's an athlete and she's amazing. And Kindall, let's just get right into it. Just talking about going plant-based and nutritional deficiencies. I've heard people talk about this, but what are your thoughts?
Oh man, that was my first biggest fear. And I think anyone who has ever towed this line of just what is whole food plant-based, will I get enough nutrients? I know my biggest fear was what will happen when I completely remove meat from my diet. Because we all hear about B12 deficiencies. What are your thoughts on that? What did you hear about B12 deficiencies?
Well, B12, it's primarily found in animal products. I know when I went through my Ornish cardiac rehab, like they literally, we had a dietitian on staff and we were in a kitchen. They're teaching us to cook, the whole deal. And that's one of the things they brought up was B12, so it's pretty common that vegetarians, if they're not mindful, they can be a little short on their B12. So luckily, I'm just going to bring it up because I know we both take the same thing for our B12. Kindall, what is your solution?
I looked at so many different types of B12s out there, and I think we will even bring on somebody who is an excellent source. We're going to bring her on next week for nutritional deficiencies, Dr. Jamie. And what I have found to be the best solution and the one that I actually will use the most readily is it's in the complete shakes by Juice Plus because it's already in there. And I really trust the efficacy of the actual powders, that it's NSF certified. There's so many yucky, gross B12s out there that are like actually filled with oil, animal parts. And it's like, where did that animal come from? Is it grass-fed? Is it a well-sourced product? There's just so many questionable factors with any kind of things made on the market. Did it come from China? What's in it? So I know for me, my favorite option is a chocolate complete shake. And it also has vitamin D from mushroom powder in there. So everything that I'm getting is mixed in a way to where I'm probably going to absorb it better. That was another question too, is like, if you don't have beet in your diet, or if you don't have the vegetable from even spinach in your diet, you're probably not absorbing your B12. I just learned that over the weekend. And I was like, wow, like you have to have other components to absorb other nutrients too. Which one is your favorite? Do you like the Perform or the Complete? Which option do you get?
I definitely go with Complete, and I like the chocolate. In fact, I just had one. I had it. I put some nuts in there. I put some peanut butter powder. I get the PB Naked. It doesn't have anything but peanuts in it. You got to be careful of all the PB2s and all that stuff. Just make sure you're checking your labels because they do add sugar and stuff like that. And I put a few frozen cherries, and it was awesome. That's actually my dinner tonight. I just decided to keep it kind of nice and clean, because I like cooking. I like making dishes, but there's something about a smoothie. You can control the ingredients, and they can be so pure. And we actually have been making soy milk lately, so at home. And I didn't even know we could do that.
That's another episode.
Yeah, and we'll have to do an episode. If you want that, let us know. But we've been making soy milk, and it tastes very like rich and earthy, and the shake just had an amazing flavor. But
Wow.
yeah, that has the B12 that I need. So, and I didn't even know there could be animal parts in the B12 capsules. And you can go to Walmart and they have, I mean, it's a billion upon $1 billion industry, the supplement industry. And a lot of those companies are just making them as cheap as they can. They make them in a laboratory. And our Juice Plus products are all from plant sources, and they're all legit. They're tested. There's nothing weird going on. And we know because it's independently tested. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so keeping going with nutritional deficiencies, what are some other things that are common that people
I was
worried about?
really intrigued by this. So, other nutritional deficiencies that can come from whole food plant-based potentially is just simply not eating enough food, which might sound like an oxymoron. You're like, what? I'm not going to eat enough. But I actually ran into this issue when I started going from weight loss into athletic performance. And I really needed to reconsider my portions. It is unbelievably convenient. This is like such a beautiful downside that you can eat so much food on this diet. And we've talked about this extensively, but not getting enough complex starches, not getting enough legumes, actually including some minimally processed foods like tofu is an amazing addition that will add more calories, add more protein, or getting in the complete shakes, something that is at least going to up the calories to keep up with the energy expenditure.
Yeah.
So have you run into that issue or?
Well, I mean, I've run into the fears from people, especially. I mean, again, that's a whole episode on protein. But the bottom line is this, guys. I mean, so we could break down each one of these, and we will, because I know some of your minds work this way. But here's the deal: like, people are worried you're not going to get enough nutrition, you're not going to get enough like energy, you're not going to get enough calories. You will. I mean, you look at the people who are, and obviously we know who these vegans are because they're more prominent. They might be like famous athletes. I think like Venus Williams or Serena, one of those two. I
Arnold
think
Schwarzenegger. There's a
Arnold
whole list of
Schwarzenegger, the U.S.
bodybuilders.
bodybuilder, and so if you watch that show Game Changers on Netflix, that's another one that really outlines this. And it's just not a real serious, legitimate fear. But no more so than any other diet, Kindall, because you can choose any diet and you can be malnourished if you don't have a variety of nutrients coming into your body. So, but the one that has been a game changer for me that I really do love, and I don't even know if it's because of the nutrients, it's because of it satisfies you, and that would be starches and also soy products. So tofu, soy milk, but then your potatoes, like a good whole grain pasta. It's like, because to be honest with you, I've only been not eating meat for about a year and a half. I don't miss it because I have those things in my diet. If I was just eating salads, it wouldn't work. And that's the other thing people think is that, like, if you're vegetarian, you just eat salads. I mean, I try to force myself to eat more salads because I know they're good for me. But a salad can be a real bad habit. I mean, have you ever remember when Sweet Tomatoes was around? I couldn't go to that place because it grossed me out. Those people with those giant plates dripping all that creamy dressing all over it. I mean, they might as well go get a hamburger. It's probably worse for them anyway. But
I really think too, like we will definitely break into these more. But really, I totally back up what Doug's saying. Like when it comes to nutritional deficiencies, it's almost kind of silly. I've noticed this. Like I feel like people will all be like, "Wow, you look so healthy," but aren't you nutritionally deficient? As if they're like waiting for me to drop dead, even though my blood work looks amazing, my PCOS is gone, my hormones have never been healthier, my hair's better, my skin's better, like everything about me is significantly better. And that also leads me into one of the next categories of nutrition is talking about what could happen though when you go from, let's say, keto into a whole food plant-based diet. Like I want to jump into that. Like let's talk about what could happen with your gut. Do you want to jump into that, Doug?
yeah. I mean, yeah. Because okay, so I mean, we're going full disclosure here, but I do eat a lot of between having soy milk in my shake, and that Juice Plus shake does have water washed soy protein and pea protein as well. Um, but I eat tofu, and I love to eat hummus. So you do, but naturally you're eating soy products, you're eating more beans, and I mean, I can just be gassy. I mean, that's just the truth of it. So, I mean, that's just a part of it. But I have seen people that start eating, and I don't know if it's that you're eating vegetarian, but I mean, somebody that doesn't eat vegetables, and if they just all of a sudden eat a ton of broccoli and stuff, their stomach's going to be going, and so, I mean, I don't have trouble with it. Well, I mean, I am gassy, but I mean, my wife might have a little trouble with it. But you know what? My blood work, like you, Kindle, is amazing. So, like, I'll take a little gas if I'm not going to clog up my arteries and have strokes and heart attacks and things like that.
And like full disclosure too. I mean, if you being on our channel, we're probably going to have a lot more poop talk on here because that's just part of a healthy body is whatever you got to peek in the pot. You got to know what's going on with your body. And I've noticed if you go from, let's say, keto into a whole food plant-based diet, the amount of fiber that you are suddenly putting into your body, it's almost like going from like walking to being like a full-on sprint athlete, or going from weightlifting with nothing to like trying to curl giant 100-pound kettlebells. And your body, it actually will increase your metabolism when you start eating more plant-based. There's a study that shows like your metabolism goes up by 10%, which is ideal, but it's because your gut's having to work harder, your stomach's having to work harder, everything's having to like increase its production to shred a bunch of lettuce versus like this fiberless piece of chicken. And so when you are experiencing that, if you're going from like, I've never done this, it's like your body's having to work so hard. Think of like trying to pick up like 100-pound kettlebell. If you've never done that, you're going to be sore. You're going to experience, your stomach is going to like probably experience like some of this like gassy, bloaty cramping. But if you keep working up to it, maybe gradually. Will Bolsewicz has a great book called Fiber Fueled. It's so good. And he really talks about like gradually go into this, or just start simply like adding in the complete shakes. Or for me, I graduated into this with starting with the complete capsules. Like I did the full fruit, vegetable, berry, and omega capsules that if you're new to this, you've probably never heard about these, but it's through Juice Plus. And that actually increased my poop production by a significant amount. I went from like not going to like going regularly every day without coffee. And that's because of the microbiome too. So we could go like, this is a topic I could light up about. Like I could talk forever about this area.
You get real excited about this topic.
Poop topics are, I mean, come on. Who doesn't like talking potty talk?
Oh man, that is hilarious. Well, yeah, I mean, same here. I mean, I know I'm always surprised to hear, because we do a lot of health education and talks in front of people, and the topic comes up all the time. And Kindall and I both are representatives with that company, Juice Plus. So you can reach out to us if you want more info on that. But as we talk to people, the topic of like bowel movements come up frequently. And I'm always surprised how many people are like constipated and having trouble. And that's usually a topic nobody really wants to talk about until they can't poop. Then you got to talk about it because it creates some serious problems, real serious problems.
I mean, Doug, probably 1 in 5 I bet you most people are actually watching this while on the toilet. Because I was looking up, I at one point was like, I wonder how many people are constipated, because I was constipated at one point. So I'm like, I totally understand it. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm so thankful I'm not. But it's like 1 in 5 people suffer from constipation, and it's even more prevalent in kids. So like everyone, you're probably hanging out on the toilet watching all these YouTube videos because you got to be in the bathroom for a long time.
Yeah. Well,
Man,
guys, if you're watching this and watching it on replay, if you have a question or about this topic or any other plant-based whole food diet question, please leave us a comment. We would love to address it. If not now, we'll do it in one of our future episodes. But we do have one question that has come to us, and Kindle, I'll offer this to you. What about like the time involved? What about the inconvenience to your like life that being plant-based, what does that look like?
yeah, no, I would definitely say this is an inconvenience. But I would also say looking pretty is also an inconvenience. It takes time, you know? So the inconvenience part would really be involved in the kitchen. And I probably invest about 5 hours per week into my meal batching, going through cooking up a bunch of sweet potatoes and rice and the inconvenience of chopping up vegetables and putting things away in the fridge. There's an inconvenience of going to the grocery store. We eat so much produce in our house and it doesn't ever go bad. We eat all of it, but you got to cut it all up and you got to cook it. And the other inconvenience that I know was very difficult in the beginning too was, what about restaurants? What about going out to eat? What about traveling? And thankfully, like in a plus and downside of living where I live, there are 0 great restaurants in general where I live. So like we don't go out to eat regularly at all. We always cook at home. But I know when we do go out to eat or we go out to meet friends, the whole question of like, well, do you stick with your whole food plant-based diet? What about oil? What about the menu? I mean, you guys live in Jacksonville. I feel like you guys have a much better variety of options.
Well, and I'm glad we don't. I mean, probably more than you, but we moved from South Florida, which was awesome food-wise. That's what got me into all the trouble I got into. I grew up there. I lived most of my adult life there until just 3 years ago. We moved to Jacksonville, Florida, and compared to Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Boca Raton, West Palm Beach, I mean, there's like nowhere to eat, but trust me, you're not doing yourself much favors. Now, you can learn how to eat okay at restaurants. It's a challenge. And again, those will be in-depth episodes we do, but in general, there's certain ways you can find better ways to eat. I find Asian restaurants are really helpful. I don't even order off the menu anymore. I mean, you just tell them what you want them to do, and they kind of do it. It's like, oh, I want to have a wheat noodle, minimal oil. Like most places don't really know how to cook no oil. So, I mean, you kind of have to compromise a little bit. I don't know. Maybe you can correct me if you found another way, but.
I think it depends on like what level you want to. This is where, again, like everything is a choice per person. For me, this is a great story. So let's talk about inconveniences. So Doug's wife, Sharon, was with us just this past weekend. We went out to a Thai restaurant. And I love Thai. Thai is like one of my favorite options. Normally I can get something off the menu. Well, this time I strayed slightly from the menu. And I think this is a great way to even share some of like the risk of eating whole food plant-based. So I've been normally like always whole food plant-based. Very, very few do I ever like add oil, dairy, animal products, anything like that. And I was eating off of my aunt's plate, off of Sharon's plate, off of other people's plates, tasting, trying things. And I went into the bathroom and my whole face was broken out into red.
Really?
And my throat was starting to close up slightly. And so this is something that I would add in as a risk, is when your body gets so accustomed, just like the opposite of like being keto to whole food plant-based. If you go so into eating a whole food plant-based diet where you are on it, you don't include all of these other food options, your body can have reactions and adversities to these other foods. And I had never had that until that moment. And I don't exactly know what it was in the menu, but that is a risk. Like if I eat cheese, my body is going to like feel trashed, like hangover level.
Yeah, and that is legit. And I know some people watching this, if you're just curious, you might say, well, gosh, I'm definitely not going to eat that way now. But think of all the good of it. And I'm telling you, listen, I've been a big guy my whole life. I love food. I'm a foodie. I cook a lot. Before we came on to do this, I was just watching MasterChef with my daughter and my wife, and we love all that stuff. But you can make great tasting food and it won't kill you. Okay. The food is going to give you life. It's going to
Won't
give
kill
you
you.
energy. Literally. It won't, either way, the time investment or the health reasons. And once you start thinking about food as fuel and thinking about what's going into your body because you want to have a quality of life. See, I'm in my 50s. Kindall, I don't know, she looks like she's about 18 or so. She's 32,
I'll take
but
it.
I remember 32. I've forgotten 32 years probably by now. But here's the thing. It only gets harder and harder, and you only start to feel worse and worse and worse naturally. Even if you're in optimal health, it's 32 doesn't feel the same as, let's say, 62. So you want to prepare for that, and you want to have a great quality of life. I want to be a guy that's, when I'm 80 years old, I want to be running and playing pickleball and playing golf and like able to beat somebody up if I need to. I don't want to be that guy that had a stroke and I'm limping around and or people have to change my diaper. I mean, that's not what I want for myself. And I spent a lot of years eating a lot of bad food, but I got scared straight. And I'm now on a different path. And we invite you guys to follow us, like what we're doing, turn on your notifications, the whole deal. Because we're just going to keep giving you guys, we're going to give you our best every week. Next week, tell us a little bit about who's coming on next week.
You guys are going to love next week. So we have a third party that's joining us. Her name is Dr. Jamie Rutledge, and she's a doctorate of nurse practitioners. She's also a very cool woman. Like, she's a straight up beast. I worked out with her just over the weekend and she kicked my butt. She's an athlete. She also is somebody who has conquered celiac disease. So she still has an autoimmune disorder, but she has learned to work beautifully with it throughout her life. And she has a very cool story. I'm excited to have her come talk to us because she's just going to drop some cool, geeky, nerdy science facts on you all. And she goes way down the rabbit hole for some of us who have like really like, hey, how does that work? Tell me how this, what's the deal? She can answer those questions. So I highly encourage you guys to like put as many questions as you want for like autoimmune disorders, celiac disease, nutrition deficiencies, B12, what vitamins to take, what vitamins not to take, do vitamins work, whole food, plant-based, just load it on because she's the great resource for that. And she's going to blow y'all's mind. So That's what's happening next week, and it's going to be good.
Awesome. Well, guys, that's it for this week. This is Doug, and we got Kindall here, and we're your guides. We're going to keep sharing personal stories, practical advice, recipes, and we're bringing on the big guns next week with some real scientific, technical knowledge. It's going to be awesome. So we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in. Again, make sure you like and follow us. Have a great week. Keep it healthy.
Woohoo! Bye.